This is the Blackview Color 6, and for a fact, this might be the best budget smartphone of 2025. Now, if you're in the market for a budget smartphone and you don't actually know which one to pick, then you might be in the right place. This is the Blackview Color 6, and for a minute, I'll be telling you why this phone is one of the best budget smartphones you can get in 2025. So, let's get into it. So for starters, we'll be looking at what's in the box for the Blackview Color 6. So basically, you get the actual phone itself, then you get a phone casing, which is this one. This one is like a silicone casing, which is very, very thoughtful, considering the fact that casing for this kind of phones are actually hard to source. So aside from that, you get a charging brick, which you don't usually get on most smart devices as of today. Then you get a USB Type-C cable. So basically, this one is a USB Type-A to Type-C cable, and for a fact this one is very, very fast. Now you also get a SIM ejector tool, which is this, a tiny SIM ejector tool. Then you get the owner's manual and you get a screen protector. So basically this is what you get in the box of the Blackview Color 6. So for me, I feel as if this one is powered, considering the fact that this one comes with a charger. So let's just head on into the phone itself. So for the first thing I'm looking at is the design of this particular device, and when it comes to the design of the Blackview Color 6, I'm actually in love with this one. Now let's put in context. This one shares similar design with the A07 regarding its width and its weight. So basically this one is slightly heavier than the A07, but compared together, this one is, should I say, a little bit smaller than the A07. But the A07 outside, let's look at this. Now I like how this phone looks. I like the camera design of this device. I also like the body design of this device, because this one is actually made out of polycarbonate plastic, which is, should I say, a little bit scratch resistant. But for a budget smartphone, this one feels and looks very, very nice. I like how it feels. I like the fact that I can actually carry this one anywhere I want to go to without any stress, and it's not that heavy. Now you have a volume up and a volume down button by the side right here. You also have a power button that also serves as the fingerprint of this device, which is now standard on most budget devices, which doesn't have, the fingerprint inside the screen. On the bottom end, you actually have a USB Type-C charging port, you have the speaker, and you have an earphone jack, which is not really common on most devices right now. But for the fact that you have an earphone jack, it just makes absolute sense. So basically, you have the SIM port right here, which is actually the dual SIM port with a memory card port, which is quite interesting. Then at the top here, you just have like a plain side. That aside, you have the camera right here, and for a fact, I'm actually in love with this camera design, because this one is quite unique. It does not look like the iPhone, it does not look like a Samsung, but the A07 on the other hand has this iPhone 16 bezel, which makes it look like the iPhone, which I actually complained in my last video about the A07 rather. But the Blackview Color 6 has this very unique design, which just makes it make sense. So when it comes to the design of this phone, it's very nice. The design of the display is also nice. The display is not that bad. I actually like this one. I'll look at it when we get to the display of this device, but the display actually sits very, very well on this phone. So yeah, the design of the Blackview Color 6 is perfect for a budget smartphone. So let's head on to the display. So the next thing we're looking at is the display of the Blackview Color 6, and when it comes to the display of this particular device, this one is quite interesting, considering the fact that this one is actually 6.67 inches, which means it's a large display. But where the thing actually adds up is the color that the display of this one actually produces. So basically this one is actually 90 Hz, and it's quite, should I say, smoothing. Like if I go scrolling through social media or anything, the display actually puts up very well. But when it comes to the color of this one, we'll be comparing it to the A07, and for a fact, the colors that the Blackview Color 6 actually produces is far, far better than what the A07 produces. So let's just put in context. I've been using the A07 for a while, and if you're on social media, or let's say you're playing games like Call of Duty or anything else, you will notice that the color of the A07 is not that impressive. It's kind of, dim, and does not have enough of contrast, or let's say vibrance. But the Blackview Color 6 actually has this vibrance. It has this color pop, and for a fact, the colors are pretty much accurate. So when it comes to the display of this one, it's very, very nice. You don't have to worry about anything. You can use it for social media. You can use it to get the best colors you can get for budget smartphone. And to be very fair with you, this one actually costs about $100, which just makes it make sense. So basically, the display of the Blackview Color 6 is very, very nice. The display is big enough. You can use it for anything at all. Be it social media, being playing games, because I actually play Call of Duty on this one on very, very low graphics, and it still gives me a very, very nice color. So basically, yes, the display of this device is top notch, but let's just, should I say, yes, it just suits for a budget smartphone, and compared to the A07, this one just makes absolute sense. So let's just look at what the performance of this device can give. So when it comes to the performance of this device, I'm actually, I say, quite impressed, but let's just put in context. Now, I prefer the performance of this device over the Samsung A07, and reason being the fact that this one actually switches through apps very, very easily. Now, if you've used the A07, or let's say you're planning to get the A07, you notice that when you want to switch through apps, you actually have this lagging, the phone actually lags a little bit. But when it comes to handling Call of Duty and other games like that, the A07 actually tops the Blackview Color 6. But when it comes to, you know, switching through apps, the smooth performance and everything like that, the Blackview Color 6 does not lag. Guys, is just the actual reason why I like this device. Now, you need to know that this device actually runs on the Helio G81 chip, which makes sense. That's the MediaTek Helio G81 chip. For that one, it's actually a budget smart chip, so you can't really get anything that special from it. But you can actually play games like Call of Duty, PUBG, and, you know, Free Fire on this device on very, very low graphics. So basically, you can even play on medium graphics or high graphics. On default, you only have, you know, should I say, low graphics, and trust me, it actually does the job. Now, I've played Call of Duty on this device, I've played PUBG on this device, and I've actually played Free Fire on this device, and trust me for a fact, these games actually work. But let's not consider the fact that things are not actually on this phone that much. It's just basically for testing and, you know, basic social media and stuff like that. So let's say you tend to use this phone over time. I actually believe that this phone will tend to lag over time, but this one is actually supported by 8 gig RAM and, should I say, 256 gig, you know, random storage, which just makes sense. Now, for the price, $100, and you get 256 gig worth of storage and 8 gig worth of RAM, it's an absolute steal. Now, basically, you can use this one for a very, very long time without considering the fact that you have to change it as regards the storage, and it still has a, you know, extra card slot, which just makes it make sense. You can extend the storage to as much as you like. So basically, when it comes to the performance of this device for a budget range, just know that you can use this one for anything basic, but I don't think you should be using it to like edit videos, edit pictures and stuff like that. You can just use it for the basic stuff, like let's say basic gaming, let's say the normal gaming you get on the app, mobile apps and stuff like that. You can use it for basic gaming. You can also use it for Call of Duty. You can use it for Free Fire on very, very low graphics, and you can use it to scroll through social media seamlessly. Compared to the A07, the A07 actually plays games a little bit better than this one, but this one is top tier when it comes to scrolling through social media, switching through apps, and every other thing like that. So when it comes to the performance of this device, it's a nice one. You should actually get it for budget range. It's just $100. So yeah, that's what you get for what you pay. So the next thing we're looking at is the camera of this device. And when it comes to the camera of this device, I'm not really a fan of the numbers that these manufacturers actually put out there. I'm a fan of real life testing. Now, basically, when it comes to the camera of the Blackview Color 6, should I say the A07 is actually slightly better than the camera of the Color 6? But yes, the camera actually does the, you know, basic camera job. You know, if you actually use this phone, you can use it to take good pictures when you're outside. Not that good pictures, but, you know, pictures to keep memories and stuff like that. Because basically, the back camera of this one is actually a 50 megapixel camera, while the front one is a 13 megapixel camera. But if you want to compare to, like, let's say older flagships which just come with like 15 megapixel camera or 18 megapixel cameras, they are very, very sharp than what you get on this. So basically, you get the same camera that you actually get on the A07, 50 megapixel on the A07 as regards that. And the camera of the Blackview is actually a Samsung produced camera, which just makes it make sense. Yeah, it's actually a Samsung camera that they used on this one. So the camera can pretty much do anything you want it to do. You can shoot videos at 180p, just 180p, while the A07 can actually shoot up to 1.8K. So basically, the camera on the A07 is way better than the one you get on the Blackview Color 6, but the Blackview Color 6 can still do the basic job of a budget smartphone. The camera, you can use it to, you know, take pictures outside, you can use it to take videos outside, you can actually use it to take selfies and post on social media like WhatsApp, Instagram, and other profiles like that, which just makes it make sense. So basically, the camera is mid-range, very, very mid-range. For a budget smartphone, it's budget-wise, it's not that impressive. It actually gives this, you know, the camera is actually very, very harsh. That is, the selfie camera is very harsh. That was actually a turn off for me. And the back camera, on the other hand, it still gives this kind of blurry look. So basically, the camera on this one is very, very, very budget. But if you're actually considering getting this one, I don't think camera would actually be your issue. You should just know that the camera will work for anything you actually want to use it to do. So basically, the camera on the Blackview Color 6 is still okay for the price. For the price, is very, very okay. Let's talk about what the battery of this phone actually does. So the battery of this device is actually the highlight of this device, or should I say should actually be the highlight of the device. One is actually supported by a 5000 mAh battery, and for a fact, the battery of this one is very, very impressive. Now, basically, if you use this phone, you can actually use this phone for 2 days constant without actually having to charge it. Considering the fact that you don't actually play games on it like Call of Duty, Free Fire and all, but let's say you're a heavy user and you use your camera, you play games a lot and every other thing like that, you always have your data on, then for a fact, this one will do you for a day completely without actually having to charge it. Now, the charging on this one is actually an 18-watt fast charging sensor on this one, and the charging on this one is very, very fast using the Blackview charger. Or if you're actually using a fast charger or you have a fast charging brick, then yes, the charging of this one is very, very fast. But when it comes to the battery lasting, then yes, this one is actually top notch. Compared to the A07, it's actually on a very, very similar range, considering the fact that this one's battery too is also very, very big and it lasts very, very long. Now let's put in context. I actually charged this one to 100% and left it in my bag after I went to do the review. That is the writing review of this device. So I actually had to take pictures of it. And up until today, this one is still around. Let's say you see on, should I say, half, because the battery percentage is not actually displayed. But if you can actually see this, actually do this after the video, you see that the battery is still on half, and this one has been connected to my Wi-Fi all through for the past 3 days now, and for a fact the battery still stands supreme. So basically the battery on this device is very, very nice compared to other budget smartphones. Then this one is actually a killer. I like the battery of this device. The device is very, very lasting. I've actually used this one for a while. I know how to charge it every single time. Compared to the A07, I would say the battery of the Blackview Color 6 is actually, you know, slightly better than the one you can actually find on the A07. But yeah, for $100, 5000 mAh is actually a steal, an absolute steal. So the battery on the Blackview Color 6 is very, very nice. If you are considering this one as regards the battery, then yes, you should pick it for the battery. The battery on the phone is superb. So the next thing we're looking at is the connectivity of this device. And when it comes to the connectivity of this device, most people don't actually, you know, talk about the connection of devices when they're actually reviewing it. But when it comes to the connectivity of this device, this one actually shares a much, should I say, lesser version of Bluetooth, which does not really make sense to me, considering the fact that most devices actually come with Bluetooth 6.0 as of today. But trust me, this one still serves. The Bluetooth 5.3, I think, on this device is still superb. And when it comes to making calls and, you know, connecting to the internet, this one is actually 4G. It does not support 5G, which is actually a con, but for now it still serves, because 4G in this part of the world that I am is actually still okay. And for a budget smartphone, yes, it still works. But the Wi-Fi on this is very, very strong. The Bluetooth is still working. You can actually do this one with most earbuds. I tested this one with most earbuds and it connects seamlessly, and the Wi-Fi connects seamlessly. For calls, this one still makes sense. You don't get cracks when you make calls or things like that. And for a fact, compared to the A07, actually, it's okay. You don't actually have anything that's actually that different from it. Everything still serves perfectly. So basically, you get Bluetooth 5.3 on this one. It's quite older because most AirPods as of today comes with Bluetooth 6.0, which is slightly higher. Most devices come with Bluetooth 6.0, which is actually higher. So let's just put in the fact that this one comes with lesser, should I say, capabilities. But yes, it still works quite easily. And for a fact, for a budget smartphone, yes, it's still good. So basically, you don't get cracks in calls. Your Wi-Fi is strong. You actually have 4G instead of 5G, and the Bluetooth is okay. So when it comes to the connectivity of this device, then yes, it's actually top notch. So the next thing we're looking at is the color media playback of this device. Now, when it comes to the color media playback of the Blackview Color 6, for a fact, this one is significantly better than the A07. Considering the fact that the A07 actually lacks when you actually scroll through social media, I don't feel as if the display on this one is very, very nice. But when it comes to this, the media playback on this is very, very nice. Even if you're watching a movie on Netflix, or let's say you're scrolling through social media, yes, this one serves its purpose and it's quite okay. You can actually use this one for marathon series and you not actually, you know, feel the difference or feel as if this one is a budget device. When it comes to calls, like I said earlier, in connectivity, the calls on this device is very, very nice. It does not crack and everything is actually top notch. So yes, the calls on this device are actually 100%. The media playback also is actually 100%. It's very, very nice. You won't experience lags, you won't experience, you know, breaks and all that stuff like that. So yes, the color media playback of the Blackview Color 6 is top notch. So should you buy this device? Now, when it comes to that actual topic, then it's actually kind of controversial. Now, as regards the A07, the similarities are very, very nice. You know, the fact that this one has a better display than the A07, but the A07 actually has a better camera than this and actually plays game better than this. But when it comes to general value for money, then I'll actually go with the Blackview Color 6. Now, consider the fact that this one is actually 24 gig of RAM. Now, I actually made a mistake when it comes to the performance. I did not state it well, but for a fact, this one is actually 24 gig of RAM and it's actually 256 gig worth of random storage. Now, basically, you get more storage on this one compared to the A07, which is just 4 gig of RAM and 128 gig of storage. So yeah, this one actually tops it when it comes to the storage options. And for a fact, it's actually a more prettier device, a more, should I say, unique device compared to the A07. And I'm actually in love with this particular one. So when it comes to, you know, each one is actually better, or if you should buy the Blackview Color 6, this one is actually a steal for its price. This one goes for around $100, while the A07 is around $110 where I am, like where I stay particularly. But I need to pick this one from AliExpress for $100, which just makes, should I say, absolute sense. It's Very, very nice. So basically, this is one of the best budget smartphones you can get in 2025. If you like this video, do what you like, comment and also subscribe for more videos like this. My name is Zeus, and I'll be giving you more updates on budget friendly smartphones from today. So yeah, thank you.